Hello everyone, I'm Murtaza Aşıla. I'm a freshman student at Bilkent University at Electronic and Electronics Engineering Department. This video is the presentation of my Physics 101 lab project, which is about the examination of the relation between shape, mass, radius of an object, and velocity of the center of mass in rolling motion. In rolling motion, the resistance against the motion is expressed by the moment of inertia, which is symbolized by I, and the results of mathematical calculations of moment of inertia for spheres and cylinders with respect to their center of masses are shown in the equations 3 and 4. The kinetic energy of rolling motion is expressed by the sum of the kinetic energies of infinite small particles of the object, and expressed as shown in equation 6. And from the conservation of energy, we can write the equation below for our objects. After making the required calculations and solving the equation for the velocity of the center of mass, we obtain the results for spheres and cylinders as shown in the picture. Therefore, we can conclude that in our set of experiments, the velocity of center of mass just depends on the shape of the object and the vertical distance traveled by the object, and independent from the mass and the radius of the object. The equipments that I used in the experiment are an inclined plane, 2 solid spheres, 2 solid cylinders, a chronometer which I use my phone for, a ruler, a balance, a marker, and a vernier caliper. Firstly, I divided my plane in equal distances by using a ruler and a marker. Then I inclined my plane by putting a block underneath. After that, I measured the masses and radiuses of my objects by using a vernier caliper and an electronic balance. And here are the results for the masses of the objects. After measuring and noting these, I started the experiment by releasing objects from the inclined plane. I measured the time for an object to go to the marked points on the plane from top of the plane for each interval several times to get a more accurate result, and repeated the process for all objects one by one. After noting the results to the tables, I obtained these data. Lastly, with sketching the graph of the velocity of center of mass with respect to the traveled distance for all objects, I obtained this plot. In conclusion, as seen in the data and the plot, the motions of cylinders and spheres are similar in each other, especially for cylinders. In the plot, the differences in the spheres are more than the differences in the cylinders, and it is most likely because of the imperfection of the small sphere that I used in the experiment. But overall, we can conclude from the experiment that the velocity of center of mass depends on the shape, but not the mass or the radius of the object, which meets our expectations in theory. The errors in the experiments were random errors, which may be caused by my mistakes during the time measurements, errors that occurred during the measurements processes of distances, radiuses, and masses, the friction in real life that does not considered in the theory, and the imperfections of the shapes of the objects. That was my conclusion from the experiment. Thank you for watching.